Okay, welcome to Life Coaching Classes and Videos by Universal Recovery 360. I am your host, Pernell Baston, and today we will be discussing the truth about selfishness. Right? I have decided, right, that this series of videos is going to be topics, the truth about, right? Because it seems like when you start with the truth, right, I'm starting to realize this, being that the truth is what we would consider an indisputable fact, right? It leaves less argument for the mind to fight. It kind of makes you free from the arguments and things like that and forces a person to face reality. Okay, so this one is going to be the truth about selfish, right? Okay, so in the word selfish, you have a word and a suffix, right? The word that you have is self, and the suffix that you have is ish, right? Which means to be like, right? So self-ish simply means to be like self. Now, self, by definition, is that part of you that makes you unique, right? It's not the flesh, right? Because everybody's flesh goes through the same issues. It's not the flesh. So it's not unique. Um, it's that part of you that people see when they look here, right? That part of you that they meet here, right? Not here, not here, but here. Okay. So now that we got that part identified, so once you gather and start to realize that selfish simply means to be like self, right? How can you not be selfish, right? By definition alone, right? You just simply being you, and that is the definition of selfish. So I'm gonna put it on me, right? Because I know I'm selfish. I found out and I accepted it, right? This is one of those recovery things. Oh, yeah. I also like to use recovery related terminology as well as biblical terminology. The reason being for those two is because, along with truth, right, people identify with the recovery based stuff the same way people identify with the biblically based stuff. So if you can connect to something real for you, right, then you'll see, right? You give yourself a little bit more freedom, and I'll explain what that means a little bit later. But for now, I want to get back to me being selfish, just like everybody else, right? I think about me first, right? There's a part of me that thinks about you, but there's a part of me that thinks about me first, right? That is what we call the flesh, right? The mind is doing one thing, and the body is doing the other thing. But remember, right? He put the words that you need to protect yourself here and here for a reason, right? He put it here to protect the fight you have up here. And he put it here to protect the fight you have down here, right? But people don't see things that way, but they need to. And I'm going to show you how, right? When people deal, right, with selfish and you deal with this and this instead of this, right? What you're dealing with, right, is things that have been conditioned and trained to protect themselves, right? I spent my whole life, like I'm literally that person that spent this whole life out in situations where if I was sleeping, you walked up on me and I didn't know who you was, I would jump in preparation to defend myself. And that's not because of a dream I'm having. That's because that's what happens to me now. You get it? Right? That's the truth, right? So when it comes to selfishness, the definition itself is based on me, right? And one day I'm going to teach you the difference between me, myself, and I having conversations and me and another human being having conversations, because I can have conversations right here, right? These two sometimes pile up on this and this sometimes jump up on this, right? And this sometimes pile up on this. But the idea with truth is to bring this, and this all together, because that's what he did, right? He put it here and here, right? Two separate fights, right? Information in two different places. Why wouldn't he just put it in one place if it didn't need to protect two different things, right? So we got to start thinking of this, right, is not this, right? When I say me, I'm talking about this, right? You ever hear the terminology, you and me is incorrect grammar? It's you and I, right? Because they say this, right, can't talk to this, right? My mind can't talk to your body, right? Your mind can't talk to my body. Your mind has to talk to my mind. So it's a you and I thing, right? I, you are the equivalents. Me is fleshly. It's a different equivalent. It's myself and I and all that, right? One, two, three, those are levels. So back to me being selfish, right? Let's say I have a best friend or my lady, right? Give a perfect example because most people in relationships don't think they're selfish, right? My lady, I won't give her the world, right? But every time I do something for her, right? Because of why I'm doing it for her, because of this and not both of them together, right? This, you already know why this is doing it, right? And that needs to be fixed, right? But this is doing it thinking it's doing it for the right reasons. This is doing it because it wants sex, right? So you got two things going on, remember? But you got information here and here to protect from both of them. But we don't have time to do that. We only have time to do this, right? We think this controls everything, but it doesn't. And I like to tell people that if you think your mind is that strong, eat a box of X-Lax and tell me how it works out when you tell your mind to tell your body not to go to the bathroom and shit. I guarantee you, you'll be dripping all over your clothes, pants, and everything, regardless to what this says. Right? It's not the same. Right? We do not have total control. It has restrictions. The flesh, right? It has restrictions, and we need to accept that. The imagination is an expanse, right? It can go anywhere, no restrictions. It can do anything, no restrictions. There's a difference, right? But we're not using them like they're different. So let's get back to the relationship, right? I'm in a relationship, and let's say my girl needs some money, right? So I give her $100. Bang, no biggie, right? Part of me is keeping a record of it because part of me protects me, remember? So part of me is keeping a record of it. Then there's a part of me that's happy did it, right? But the part of me that's keeping the record is clashing with the part of me that's happy did it, right? So if I continue to do it, right, this side of me is going to continue to be happy, and this side of me is going to continue to be building up grudge, right? So just as much as this side is happy, the grudge is just as big, right? There's no reason for it besides the fact that good and evil, you can't have one without the other. If you're passive aggressive, you cannot be assertive. It's impossible. You're either going to be humble or all out, right? Good and evil's the same thing. You can't have one without the other. So if you live in, right, love, hate, right? Believe me, no matter the stronger you love, the stronger you're gonna make your hate because as above, so below, right? But that's again, that's why he put it here and here. But even in the terminology as above, so below, they identify them as different, separate. But we don't. But we need to because if we don't get to the place where we understand who we are, we're going to build up resentments. We're going to hate people. Literally, people are going to be looking at you, and you're going to have this look on your face that you can't explain because you really don't mean it, right? The part of you that loves them doesn't mean it, but the part of you that has the other option means it. You have to be able to tell the truth. You have to be able to say, yeah, there's something that's pissing me off about me doing this. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to stop, but I'm just letting you know that there's something that's pissing me off and I'm allowing it to grow. Right? I don't want us to end up in an argument over money. Right? That's what I call what you do next, right? But in order for something like that to happen, you have to apply something. And for things like relationships, I like to use tradition 1 and tradition 2, right? Tradition 1 is our common welfare should come first. Me and my lady together, our common welfare should come first. That means what's best for us in general. The common parts of us should come first, right? That my personal ability to get better is only going to depend on me and you uniting. That's it, right? That's a relationship, right? And then for that group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as he may express himself in our group consciousness, right? Regardless of whether you started the conversation or I started the conversation, there is no leader. Our leaders are but trusted servants, right? They do not govern, right? So if I look at my relationships with that before I have a conversation about something that's true, right? My intent, because they're still going to be living in the good and evil, in the love and hate. They're going to see my intent, right, coming from the side of love instead of the side of hate. But if I don't do that, right, and I just let it build up, and one day I just start mumbling shit, and all of a sudden she felt it building up too, and she goes, say it again, say it out loud, and then all of a sudden I'm blasting about how I'm the fucking man, and I keep giving you this and that, and I'm getting tired of it. I don't know. And rather than saying I don't know, you make it like it's their fault, right? So you, and then they get back at you like, motherfucker, you ain't got to do nothing for me. You already know that, right? And you know that. That's what makes you do it, so you can argue that argument when it comes up, right? See, we prepare for arguments by nature as human beings, right? Because we selfish, right? So we prepare to prove, right? At the end of the day, it's on you, not me. We prepare for that. And then there's a side of us that goes by love, right? The part of us, they say love is blind. Of course, love is blind. So you can't really see what you're doing. But over here, we seeing all that shit because we ain't in love. We in hate, right? As above, so below. Got one, you gotta have the other. Can't have one without the other. So if you get into telling the truth, right, you're gonna avoid a lot of that stuff. But being truthful requires a freedom that people do not seem to want. They want to be obligated to other people, other places, other things. It's like the biggest form of respect to say, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't make it. I gotta be at so-and-so, you know. That's my thing right there, right? We feel good about that. You ever heard of the humble brag? Where you hate to say something happened, but the thing that happened makes you look good. They call it humbly bragging. That's selfish, right? It's just a way of being selfish, right, for the people who don't know what a humble brag is, right? The other way of being selfish is by not telling the truth when the time comes, right? In relationships, you omit unnecessary things, right? But when it comes to a relationship between you and your partner, if you say you love them, then you treat them like you love them. You don't treat them like you like them. You don't have to like people all the time to love them. I love everybody. I don't have to like you to love you. That just minimizes some of the things that'll happen unless necessary. Because that's what love is. Love is about doing it when it has to be done. Freely, right? You're going to love somebody, you got to understand freedom. When I first started doing freedom, I lost my mind. I learned about freedom in a religious service one day, and I decided I'm going to study this thing called freedom. And the first thing I realized about freedom was I couldn't be in the services no more because it obligated me to be there. I'm serious, right? But then I realized that freedom is a choice, right? It's a preparational choice, right? When you decide to do something, right, when the time comes, you shouldn't feel obligated, right? You should be either able to say, I'm going to do it or I'm not, right? But you shouldn't feel obligated, and that's what I learned about freedom. Freedom is not about obligation, but we put the obligations on ourselves, and then we blame the people that we promised it to like they did something wrong when they don't understand why I keep not showing up. right? Eventually they start thinking I'm selfish, right? Like I'm different from them. No, you selfish. We all selfish. In order for you to call me selfish, you gotta be selfish, right? Because it takes one to know one. See, I learned to use these things on me, right? Instead of using it on other people, and that's how I found out about me. Narcissistic, they said I was highly intelligent, narcissist, right? With sociopathic tendencies. All of those are right. It has nothing to do with what I'm going to do next. It just means that initially that's my background. Because that's where I go. The minute something happens, I think about me narcissistically, right? And then I don't care about them, right? Sociopathically. Right? And I tell people all the time, there's a part of me that doesn't know how to have those feelings. I used to get in trouble all the time because whenever something happened, I don't care how bad it was. If you ask me about it, the first thing I do is smile. And it made it look like I was guilty. So I used to get in a lot of trouble because I always smiled because I didn't know, right, that I had this sociopathic tendency that things that hurt other people didn't hurt me. Right? But I know that now, so there's no feeling there when people arguing at me and screaming at me. There's no feeling there, right? So I started understanding that the response from a feeling, right, is never going to be the right one anyway, Pernell. So why are you feeling less than? Because it's going to make you feel less than if you feel like you're missing something, right? I'm not really missing it. I'm just psychologically imbalanced so that doesn't happen, right? But I've found the imbalance and balanced it out for myself, right? Because it's not about what I'm defined as. It's not about what you think I am. It's not about what I did in my past. It's not about what I'm doing now, right? It's about the decision I make when the time comes, period, right? And once I get to that place where I'm in truth so well, right, that there's really nothing else going on. Like I don't have to worry about anything because I know the truth. Like I'm either going to do it or I'm not. I know me. So why would I stress over something happening? If I get home and I can't find my keys and all of a sudden I believe I lost my keys, there's a part of me that wants to spaz out on everybody I was around because I automatically start wondering who saw my key and didn't say anything or who took my key trying to be funny, right? And all that stuff when the reality is I probably just left it somewhere. Then when I get it, I be go, oh, but I don't get rid of any of that shit that I had going on over here. Because I don't tell nobody. Right? If it ended and nothing happened, nothing went wrong, regardless of all that shit I had going on, shoo, thank God I didn't have to go there and embarrass myself. Right? Because that's how we feel. Right? But we don't have to be like that. Right? If we tell the truth, we work on our intent. Right? You either intend to do good or you intend to do harm. Right? But truth will never be the reason it happens. You will. That's what will define me. Right? What I do next defines me. People don't change. I won't change. You won't change. I'm sorry if you're not ready for that part yet. Right? It's what we do next that defines us. So we have to stop holding our people hostage, right? If you actually love somebody or you want to be with somebody, don't hold them hostage. Holding them hostage means obligating them to do things under intent. Like you don't want them to be around certain people, so you figure out something else to do, right? Rather than say you don't want them to be around that person. Maybe you think that person gonna tell the truth about you. I don't know, right? But you don't want them around them. Just say it. Get it out the way, right? It doesn't have to be an argument because your intent could be healthy. All you got to do is, I don't know what it is. I don't know if I'm afraid y'all going to do this or I'm afraid y'all going to do that. Get it out so you can get rid of it. Instead, you just sit around scheming on your best fucking friend, right, on how to make sure it goes the way you need it to go so you can go to sleep comfortably at night because everything went your way. Never mind if it went their way or not. Fuck that. That is selfishness. You gotta let it go. The only way to let it go is to use this thing you say you use so well in your recovery. If you're not in recovery, you also say you use it so well because you didn't have to do recovery. It's called acceptance. You accepted who you were and you knew that wasn't for you, so you never did it. You learn to accept things because acceptance allows you to be adaptable, open-minded, to at least think about what the other person is saying. So you got that already. But you keep forgetting, just like you have acceptance, you have a non-acceptance side that says, fuck all that shit, because they are as above, so below. Right? People don't believe that what they say up here can feel a certain way down here. Right? It's the same conversation, right? You ever was happy and tears started coming out your eyes because you're so happy you start literally crying? Down here is different. It's almost opposite. Get it? They call it as above, so below, because the same thing is going to happen. How you deal with it is different. I hope this is like making some sense, because I have so many friends, right, that are getting the things that they want, right, but they're finally getting them, and when they get them, they realizing that they wasn't all they were cracked up to be, and it's not because they wasn't. The problem is what we did to get it, right? I remember doing things to get things, doing things to get people, doing things to make people not like you, doing things to make people love you, right? Just being in control of other people. No, everybody deserves the right to freedom. Everybody deserves the right to love. Everybody deserves the right to truth, peace, and justice. We all deserve those things, but we have to achieve them. We too busy trying to make a better salary. We too busy trying to start another business. Right? You guys got to start talking to each other and apologizing for the dumb shit that you've done. How are you going to start something new or be in something, right, that's healthy, right, if it's all based on the truth and bullshit? Right? Because all we got to do is wake up in a bad mood and the truth is gone. Bullshit prevails. But you woke up on the wrong side of the bed? Fuck you. Truth prevails. Right? Woke up on the wrong side of the bed? Yeah, man. And that thing got me feeling crazy, man. I don't even know what type of mood I'm in right now. I feel like I want to cry, be angry, and happy all at the same time. And none of it makes sense. Right? True. People being truthful is strange, crazy. Even in the Bible it says, right, when Jesus left, he said, I'm going to send you something called a comforter. Comforter means comfort, cozy, something to make you feel relaxed and peaceful, right? And he said his name is truth, and you never knew it, right? Let the truth in, right? And then bring the truth back out of you, right? Let it in. Get it all in. Let it show you who you are. And give the real you back to the world. Give the real you back to your girlfriend. Give the real you back to your boyfriend, right? The real you might not want to be in that relationship. That happens a lot in recovery. Right? But it's the equivalent of that, right? When you find the real you, you start to realize a lot of the things you do have no idea why. But the reality is, it's probably somebody coaxed you. You coaxed yourself and don't remember, right? Because we do those things to ourselves, right? We let things build up to the point where we let go and then we blame ourselves for it, right? Even though the truth is, we weren't in control because we let it out of control. So the reality is right, stop being selfish. But in order to do that, you need to at least admit that you are selfish and apologize to the people you love. And then start fresh and don't use bad intent, right? Because truth is about intent, right? The truth hurts is a lie. It's your intent that hurts. The truth should never hurt. It's supposed to make you free. And if you giving other people the truth, it's supposed to make them free. If it's not freeing them, you ain't telling the truth because it makes them free, whether they want to be or not. The word "make," go look it up. It's what the truth does. That's all. I love you guys. 26 minutes and 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 seconds. What I just did, right, was calm myself. I get real emotional when it comes to truth nowadays, right? But I control me, right? All that getting really emotional, I figured out a way to let all that go. Breathe. Sometimes it's turning the focus on looking at the seconds and counting them. That takes this and this away from the thought because they're both focused on that, right? Looking at it and counting, right? I got them both on the same page, 8, 9, 60, right? So I put this and this on the same page in order to relax, right? But that's something that I practiced over the years, right? But it all starts with me being honest with myself, so when things happen, I can trust myself to do the right thing. Half of us don't trust ourselves to do anything. We won't admit it. And that's the part that ends up hurting other people. We don't admit we're not capable of doing what you need, right? We figure we're going to take it day by day, but the truth is you knew from day one. Tell the truth. Maybe there's a way you can fix you and make it work for you because you don't know how. But if you don't say anything, it's going to end up miserable, man. Stop doing that to people. Stop doing it to yourself. Life is too good, I'm telling you. I do not live my life based on things anymore. I'm serious. You know, every time I get a message from one of these agencies that tried to play me or try to take advantage of me, or I just had T-Mobile Alcatel, the internet system, right? Send me a bill, right? $5 late fee, and I still got 12 days before my payment is due. I called them and said, why is there a late fee on here? Because they intend to put it on you because they say they gave you information up front if you don't look at it. And she said, oh, it's not a late fee, it's because you don't have like auto pay. And I'm like, how you charging me for not having auto pay? You should be deducting me to get auto pay. I ain't signed up to pay $5 for auto pay. Matter of fact, and she had the nerve to say, well, if you don't like it, you know, you can always cancel. I said, well, cancel me right now. Then she had to try to go on and say, well, we already sent out the bill for this month. Well, you better redo that invoice because I'm going to unplug this shit as soon as we hang up this phone. Then she going to ask me, do I have a phone service provider already? And I said, don't you get it? After the conversation I had with you, there's nothing that I would ever get from your company again. Ever. And she continued to try to sell me stuff after I told her something was unfair, and her response to me was, well, either like it or cancel. You're not going to do me like that. You don't get the option to tell me like it or lump it, because I lump it every time. You won't be the first and you ain't going to be the last. That you send out that invoice, I'm going to pay you for 10 days. All that other shit, put it on my credit, make my credit go down. I don't care about that credit shit either because it's an illusion. I have never missed a payment that I didn't intend to not pay because it wasn't mine. I don't do that to me no more. But this is going to be in another topic because I'm telling you, I'm bold with my shit now. I wouldn't give a fuck if my credit score was 0. You not going to do me any kind of way. I don't care. You not going to fuck with my freedom. You not going to fuck with my truth. You not going to play with my love. And you definitely ain't going to play with my peace. And that's it for me. I got to go. Until next time, love yourself, love each other, and be truthful. Be truthful. Stop the madness. Tell on yourself. Get it over with. It's going to catch up with you, and it's going to make people hate you. Tell them now. Get it over with. My people said, Pernell's so crazy, he tell people everything about him the first day he sit with him. He ain't got hide nothing. I ain't got nothing to hide. Unless it's none of your business. I tell you just like that, but I ain't got nothing to hide. Because what you say, think, or feel has nothing to do with me anymore. Not a thing. Oh, I was saying goodbye, right? Love you. Take care of yourself. See you soon. Peace.